I found out the Border Patrol caught a man and his family sneaking in over the Texas border last November. His name is Assam Bazi. And the thing about Assam Bazi is he's listed on the terrorist watch list as a high classified, known or suspected terrorist. They let him in anyway. They were worried. He's overweight. They're afraid he'd catch COVID and lock up. They're not supposed to do that. I'm told they've never done that. Anyhow, he's living here in Dearborn with his wife and daughter at his brother's house, awaiting his asylum hearing next month. I reached out to Assam Bazi by phone. I'm just a simple man, he told me in Spanish. I don't know what they're talking about. We promised to talk to an interpreter the next day.
I interpret for people when they're in jail, when they're in court.
So the next day came. He must have gotten cold piernas because he never answered.
Please leave your message.
No dice.
Here's what we're gonna do, guys. Assam, you hear me? You'll see me this week. Got my word on that. Okay. Now, I'm no hater. If Uncle Sam says it's okay for a terrorist to be living in the United States, then it must be okay for a terrorist to live in the United States. I even brought Mr. Bazi a housewarming gift. It's a plant from a dead man's wake. Yo tengo un regalo para señor Bazi. Señor, un regalo para ti. Nobody home. Well, as we like to say in Dearborn, bienvenido a los Estados Unidos. Welcome to America.
Let's just start breaking this. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
No bullshit.
Okay, so there you go. As promised, that's the news from the southern border. But we have to blow up the entire program because we've got big problems on the northern border. Breaking news. State of emergency has been declared in Ontario for the protesters blocking the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge, the busiest trade corridor in North America. Let's play the premiere here.
Today, I'm using my authority as Premier of Ontario to declare a state of emergency in our province. And I will convene Cabinet to use legal authorities to urgently enact orders that will make crystal clear it is illegal and punishable to block and impede the movement of goods, people, and services along critical infrastructure. This will include protecting international border crossings, 400 series highways, airports, ports, bridges, and railways. It will also include protecting the safe and essential movement of ambulatory and medical services, public transit, municipal and provincial roadways, as well as pedestrian walkways. Fines for noncompliance will be severe, with a maximum penalty of $100,000 and up to a year imprisonment. We will also provide additional authority to consider taking away the personal and commercial licenses of anyone who doesn't comply with these orders.
Wow. Okay, so on the phone with us is a friend of the program, friend of mine, Derek Bull, Windsor firefighter. You there, Derek?
Hi, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm good, dude. What's the mood? What's the scene? What's happening?
First of all, we are. You guys are north of us, so this is the southern border of Detroit, Michigan here, right?
Come on, wise ass, what's going on?
Yeah, you know what? I think Canadians are fed up. They're fed up. Initially lockdown after we're going to get to the 70%, to 75% vaccination rate, to 80%. They kept moving the goalpost, the goal line. And, here in Ontario, we just got out of a lockdown probably 10 days ago. And everything was shut down again. We've complied. We've done everything. Canadians are fed up. I want my son to play hockey in the arena. He had to get vaccinated to go into arena here in Windsor, in Essex County, in the province of Ontario. If you don't have a vaccination, if you're not vaccinated, you can't get into a gym. You can't get into a restaurant or a bar. Your kids can't play sports. You cannot go and watch your kids in an arena to play hockey. And we've done all this, and they lock us down for a month. Like I said, we just got out of it a month ago, or 10 days ago.
I feel for you. As a first responder, here's what I'm hearing, dude. I'm hearing the Mounties have moved in to Windsor. Are you hearing that too?
Yeah, they're here. They're hunkered down in a undisclosed location, and they didn't bring their horses. They brought their military, or whatever you call it, all their stuff here. So they're somewhere here in Windsor and ready to go. And I just heard the Premier's announcement here. Sounds like things are moving quickly. And
have you been alerted as a first responder?
Well, what we have to do is my station's on the east side, and anything west, the road that they're on is Sherrin Church, Sherrin Line. Yeah. It kind of ends at the Parkway, kind of filters right up to there. So there's a station where they're protesting. There's a station 100 yards, a fire hall 100 yards from that intersection. Because we can't go west of that, we have to station at the Windsor Armories, where our Eston Kent Scottish Regiment trains. So we'll have a fire truck over there, because we can't go west, or we can't go south on the busy main thoroughfare of here in Church there. So we got stationed away from our station.
Have you been alerted?
Yeah, there's notices. Everything has come out. Responses, what to do, and the fire department here, and
ambulance service.
Steps. Yeah, all. Yeah.
Wow, dude. So this is not looking good.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys are following everything in Ottawa, and it's kind of carried down here to Windsor. And like I said, Canadians are fed up. You guys are fed up.
But look at this, dude. Ottawa don't mean shit, and D.C. don't mean shit. Windsor and Detroit, no one ever pays attention to us. We mean everything. And
when that bridge is closed, that means a lot.
That means
you're right.
That means the rich man is starting to go, what the fuck?
And so the two scenarios that could evolve from this. Give me two scenarios. If what happens, it would result in what? Give me the other. Give me two ideal scenarios that could happen as a result of what's taking place now.
Not ideal scenarios, just scenarios.
Just what could happen? Like they could push back or they could give in. I mean, what are the choices and what does that mean?
Are you asking me, Karen?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think. I don't think the government's going to cave in, and they're not going to say we're going to get rid of these vaccine mandates. We're not going to get rid of these mask mandates. We're going to let people go as free as they want. I don't think they can do that with egg on their face. I think it's either going to go two ways. And it sounds like those guys have dug in. I haven't talked to them, but it sounds like those guys are dug in. They're either going to be forcefully removed, or it's going to be a battle.
Dude, that's ugly. That's ugly because I look at the world, okay? Like the biggest thing going on in the world is the Ukraine. And maybe the second biggest thing is the Uyghurs in China. And the third biggest thing is maybe our southern border or Venezuela. But this is certainly a top 5 event going on planet Earth, and you're standing in the middle of it.
Right there, and you watch CNN, and it's weird to see our mayor talking on CNN or Fox or all these big time news channels. And there's our mayor from Windsor, a population 220,000, speaking to the world about what's going on.
You want to hear what our governor here in Michigan's doing?
she wasn't. I heard she was open the borders. We got to get things rolling. And it kind of goes.
Watch this. Listen to this, Derek. Derek, listen to this. This is the governor of the territory of Michigan offering to interfere in Canadian affairs. This hasn't happened.
Zooming in from California? Is she zooming in from California?
He's a smart ass. I love it.
No, she's zooming in from the War of 1812. Just keep your nose out of Canada's business. This is your mayor. What's his name?
You guys.
What's the mayor of Windsor? Dilkins?
Drew Dilkins. Yeah.
Drew Dilkins. I talked to him before. Okay. Play what he said Whitmer told him. This is unbelievable.
I can tell you that the state of Michigan, the governor's office directly, have offered to send over heavy equipment to help remove vehicles, to provide security. They've offered to do whatever's required to help end this blockade as well. And so we have partners on both sides of the border who are willing to help, and we will absolutely use any of the resources made available to us to take advantage and help end this situation.
Let me get this straight.
Well, just back down, though, Charlie. I mean, just because you're bringing in, I think that for them to assume this position, pushback, just like Derek said, the government's not just going to say, oh, we're just going to let it go. I don't think that the truckers are either.
Wait a minute. Not her job anyway.
Wait a minute. That's sovereign nation.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not sending National Guard or the state police in there. You wouldn't even send them to the southern border.
Yeah, that's right.
And we got guys on the terrorist watch list coming up here, and nobody will say a goddamn word about it. No, that is some dumbass shit.
Yep.
That's not the Democrats I know. I'm against it, right? Derek, would you like to see our state police on your soil?
No, we can solve our own problems over here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, Derek, amongst your friends and the people that you talk to, what's the support in general for what they're doing?
It's kind of... Go ahead, Mark. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's kind of mixed. And Windsor is just like Detroit and southwestern Michigan. We're a blue-collar town. We have the auto industry, heavy tool and die industries in here. And that supply chain's affected. It is. And so I see that side of it. I also 100% see the other side where enough is enough. And the government comes on and says jobs and this and that. We've been locked down. I have friends that are out of work. My friend worked, quick example, at the casino. He was out of work for 18 months. We have called unemployment insurance over here. So he was making, I don't know what it is, 52% of his wage for a year and a half. And lockdown after lockdown, when we turn on the TV and we're watching the football game and there's 90,000 people in the seats there, mask or no mask. You want to wear one, wear one. If you don't want to wear one, don't wear one. And we can't even, everything's locked down. It got so crazy over here that at Walmart and Costco, you can only buy essential groceries. And I sent Charlie a picture in April when this happened. So they fenced everything off. If you wanted to buy a pair of socks or underwear, you couldn't buy a pair of socks or underwear at Walmart or Costco. You had to do it online.
It's already there.
Groceries only.
Wow, that makes sense.
They fenced it off.
That happened to us too with the seeds.
That's right, they did.
The governor put out a statement this week saying, it's time for the truckers, and I don't think, I'm going to guess that the majority of Canadians do not want them to do this, but the majority of Canadians are done with the lockdown. That's what I'm smelling.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Lockdown exhaustion.
We get the Detroit Red in the house. We got we call it the CAW.
Famous in Canada.
The CAW over here, we call it Uniform now, which is the UAW over there. And those are some big battles where the UAW don't have parts to, you're going to shut down Chryslers and they can't make Pacificas. I mean, I get it, but enough's enough here. How much more can we take?
Let me quote my mayor. Let me quote my mayor about the lockdowns caused not by the government, but by the truckers. She put out a statement, says, quote, "It's hitting paychecks and production lines. This is unacceptable." To me, that's rich. because the Canadian truckers want the federal vaccine mandates dropped. Whitmer, smelling the political winds, hopes no one will remember that she forbade Michiganians from driving to their own cottages and vacation homes in the early days of the pandemic. And never mind that her husband drove to their vacation home to rake leaves. So I would ask my governor to put a mask over it, shut your mouth,
Right.
go rake some leaves, and let Canada handle Canada.
Do what you're good at. Take a plane down to Florida.
Yeah. And what do you do? Who do you vote for? I mean, you guys are so split in the middle, Republican, Democrat. We got three main parties over here. I don't believe in any of them. You know, we got our progressive conservative that runs Ontario, but our liberals are running the country. And, but man, I don't want to vote for any of them.
They're all the same to me, man. They're all the same to me. Like, I don't want a war over there. I don't understand why your prime minister decides triple vax Trudeau, who catches COVID anyway, and goes and hides in his beaver lodge somewhere because he's afraid. And he says, I'm not going to deal with these racists.
Well, and that clearly illustrates the divide between government and the people.
You're the prime minister. You must negotiate.
No
That's what a leader does.
Yeah, there's been zero communication.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
I don't want no war, man.
Right. I want to ask you a quick question. You emergency response. With something like this looming right now, personally, are you going through anxiety, a little worry, what you might have to go in and deal with? What's the feeling amongst you guys?
Yeah, no, not at all. It doesn't affect me personally. I know the guys I work with at the halls. We've never talked about it affecting us personally or worried about the situation. We just kind of, if anything erupts or happens, we just go and do our job, and that's it.
That's the great thing about being a firefighter, which is you just help.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the cop, man. I'm worried about those guys. I don't want to see civil war.
No.
And that doesn't solve anything. Negotiate. All right, dude.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. I've got one of the protesters holding here, and I want to get to her. Okay, see what they're going to do.
Thank you, brother.
My prayers are with you, man.
All right. See you guys. See you, Charlie. See everybody. We'll have a drink soon, Charlie.
Dig this, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Canada, we stand on guard. Oh, thee.
I think one of the first times I met you at the Chili Fest, we got up on stage and sang that.
I think if we send Charlie down there and start singing, they'll all go home. Should be over in a second or two.
What do they say? Face for radio and a voice for TV.
Thanks, Eric.
Fuck off, man.
All right, see you guys.
God, Charlie.
Okay, I want to welcome in Matthew Maroon. Basically, I could give him titles, but he's the owner of the Ambassador Bridge, and he's in a hard spot. Matthew, what's going on the border right now as we speak?
Well, unfortunately, nothing. Trade, commerce, trucks, drivers, it's not flowing at the Ambassador Bridge, and it's either not flowing at other border points or severely restricted. I don't think that there's many, if any, bridges or border points between the United States and Canada that are functioning normally.
I don't think people appreciate the importance of the Ambassador Bridge. This thing is basically the busiest trade corridor on the continent, about $350 million a day or so.
Yeah, it's the main. If you think about it, there's is like a circulatory system. Roads are veins and whatnot. The bridge is the main artery between the United States and Canada for our trade.
Canada is the second largest trading partner with the United States. That should tell you something. For some perspective out there, you all saw pictures of the port of LA being clogged, and everybody's talking about supply chain issues. The Ambassador Bridge does about half the commerce per day as the port of LA. It's tremendous. So these people up there blocking it. Matt, you're in a hard place. You got to keep triple vax Trudeau, who's hiding in his beaver lodge somewhere. You got to keep him happy. You got to keep Whitmer happy. You can't offend Biden. You don't want to offend truckers because you're a trucking magnet. What do we do here?
Well, with that kind of backdrop, Charlie, blessed are the peacemakers.
What does that mean, brother? What's the simple solution?
That means that really, I'm not. I've got the responsibility for the bridge, and it's one I take very, very seriously. But these elected officials, they've got lots of responsibilities. Some I don't understand myself, so it's hard for me to put myself in their shoes. It seems to me like everyone can win here. Trudeau really wanted to get the vaccine out there. He wanted to make sure that everyone was vaccinated, and he did. By all accounts, 90% or more of the truck drivers that cross the border that are Canadians are fully vaccinated. 90%. That's an A-level grade. The truck drivers that don't want to get vaccinated or are upset that they had to get vaccinated, they want the mandates to go away. And I don't blame them for that either. So, and the mandates are going to go away. All the different states in the United States are getting rid of their mandates. And of course, the different provinces in Canada are getting rid of their mandates. So it's only a matter of time before the mandates in Ontario go away anyway.
So what's the deal here then with like the last stand at the OK Corral? I know it, and I bet you know it, that the Mounties are mustering, right? That a state of emergency was declared today, and they got about a day or two to get their ass out of there, or the authorities are moving in. You hearing the same?
It seems like it's, from the start of it, it seemed like it was going to get to that point. I have a great deal of sympathy with truck drivers. There's some of the hardest working people in Canada and the United States. And of course, everyone here relies on them for everything that they bring us, not just necessities, but luxuries too. And
Mr. Barone, can you answer the question? Is it coming to a head in a place that we don't want it to be?
I hope not. I'd like to, like I said, I would support and try really hard at whatever kind of give and take or peaceful solution is necessary. But the border also needs to open. So it's a balancing act. But I'd be in favor of balance.
What percentage of your trucking, the trucking that you guys own, is deals with going across the border? Like, how much have you been impacted by it from the trucking standpoint?
Our own specific company is not. We're not really big into Michigan, Ontario truckload business right now. We have it in the past. We might in the future, but right now it's not a big part of our business. It's
certainly not today. So you're saying in code that they should just drop the mandate, just drop the vaccination mandate, make peace, and let's go on and all make money and eat. Is that what you're saying?
Well, Charlie,
make me some news. Make me some news, Matthew.
I'm trying to say both. Yes, the protesters should get out of the way and let commerce flow. What they're doing by blocking trade in that respect is wrong. And yes, the politicians and, in my own opinion, if it were me, and I'm not...
Finish the thought. We know it's just an opinion. We
right?
Just a guy.
I'd give a little bit, but that's just me.
Well, you didn't say it, though. You said the truckers should move.
I'd give a little bit. If I was going to take if it were me and I was going to take the mandate down in 3 weeks, I'd take it down today.
Yeah.
So Matthew Maroon is saying, move your truck and get rid of the mandate. That's the middle ground you're talking about. I know you're trying to balance it. That's what a bridge owner does. He got one side of the river and the other side of the river. Got to balance everything.
Straddling it.
Yeah, he's straddling.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do you think this is the most impactful, effective protest at the border you have seen in the time of you running the bridge?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's been some labor strikes before involving U.S. customs or Canadian customs in years gone by, and I think there's been some trucker protests over an issue or two in the past, but nothing like this. The bridge since 1927 or 1929 when it opened has never been closed this long for anything, including but not limited to 9/11.
Wow, and it is closed. Let's just be honest. I mean, the governments don't want you to say it's closed, but it's closed.
Yeah, it's closed.
Thank you. So, hey, Facebook guy, fuck off, man. It's closed. I know you live there, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Here's the owner of the busiest trade corridor in the continent. So don't tell me it's not closed.
Okay.
I don't like to misinform people. It's all I really have to offer.
Yeah,
Right.
Charlie. The trade has to flow. There's other folks beyond truck drivers that also have real jobs that count on them that aren't working today because trade isn't flowing. It has to open.
It does.
All I'm advocating is that there be a little bit of give and take so that, and that's just my opinion. I mean,
Yes.
some of these politicians, they're getting briefed on all kinds of different issues that I'm not aware of. So, but from my standpoint, I'd like to see a little.
I'm assuming you're in those discussions, sir. You know, it's the guy that actually owns the freaking bridge.
Yeah, I guess so, but I'm still not in the government, thank God. So I'm not in as many of those discussions as you think.
Okay, so look, I know you have to go because Detroit City Council, you're trying to shake it down too. You got to go deal with that. But
no, that's not. Come on, Charlie, that's not true.
It's not true at all.
I think you might have been thinking about the whole city council.
Wait a minute.
No.
Just joking.
Karen knows.
I try to keep a good relationship.
I know you do.
With the city and our companies as of late have done a lot of good things.
I'm just making a joke because you and your family and your dad. I mean, I got to go through the campaign finance statements, and everybody's got their freaking tin cup out to you. It's got to be annoying.
I know you're a jokester. It's okay.
You're not going to talk to me anymore. I'm not doing this. Guy.
It's not like you brought up a second bridge or anything.
Okay, listen, I'm going to do this, and then we got to let you go. You're a very, very busy man. Big things are going on. One clear statement to the protesters, to the government, to the people of North America, the world according to Matthew Maroon. What is it you want to leave them with before you hang up, sir?
Yeah, let's unify. Let's both give a little bit. Let's end the blockade. Let's bring the mandates to a quick end, and let's go on with life.
This guy should run for something.
No, that's why he won't run for something. He makes too much sense. He's very tactful, very considerate. Now, that's why he won't run for anything.
He wants a pay cut.
Karen knows, it used to be the de facto mayor of Detroit. She knows this. The reason he won't run is because people that aren't any good at business go into politics. People that are good at business make money.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
but they make decisions that are in the best interest of more than just themselves. That's also the difference, And you got to remember, Dave Beam was in business; he did well. But it's people that are in business and people that have the autonomy to make a decision don't necessarily do well in politics because it's too much. What do I always say? Too much process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey Matthew, want me to read you a quotation from Mayor Coleman A. Young?
Sure, I'd love to hear that.
Okay, quote. The only thing I find as contemptible as a conservative establishment bigot is a bleeding heart, pussy-ass liberal, Young wrote in his memoirs. Liberals talk as though they would change the world, but all of the things required to change the world are basically the things that liberals are not. Liberals are not radicals, by definition, and many of them are not capitalists either. Liberals, whose currency is the impassioned harangue, nibble cheese, and model the latest political fashions in front of each other, while the radicals and the money are at work changing the world.
Yeah. Seems like if Mayor Young were here, he'd be out there talking to the drivers himself, wouldn't he be?
Isn't that some shit?
Yeah,
that is some shit, bro. I didn't even think about that till now, which is Trudeau's a liberal, Labor. Whitmer's a Democrat, Labor. and they can't show their face. Mm-hmm. This is a movement, and they can't show their face because it has now become elites and working people.
Yes.
Well, the elites, the working people, everyone will be better off when this blockade is settled, and that's what needs to happen, Charlie.
Thank you, Senator.
Remember, people, they may not listen to these people had this not taken place. I mean, just saying, hey, we don't want this, or going through whatever channels they may have, they are garnering the attention that they think is necessary to impart change. If they had not done this, it probably would not have been, successful at all.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
And what do you say?
Charlie.
Thank you. And how about we get together at the yacht club and get a nice steak?
Okay,
I'm Charlie.
I'd love to take you out to lunch.
No, my yacht club.
Fine, let's go to yours.
I might have been the only guy in the history of Matthew Maroon's life that actually bought him lunch before.
Yeah, it did happen.
Was that Taco Bell or
I
White
can
House?
verify it.
Fucking eggs, bro, eggs. Take it easy. All right, thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
There you go, Matthew Maroon saying, move your trucks and stop the vax mandate. That's his solution. I think it's a decent one.
Yeah, bridge never been closed in the history of opening this long.
Yep. And
But you know what? We're at a point when people are realizing that, talk and asking and begging don't work. And so they are resorting to radical acts to garner attention and to impart the kind of change that they think they're entitled to or that they deserve.
people agree with the protesters, like we're done being locked down, but I don't think they agree with stopping international commerce.
No.
But that's a radical, man. I mean, that's a radical.
That's people fed up, Charlie, and they're like, okay, well, what do we have influence and control over? How can we leverage that into at least some attention so we can have a conversation about the things we want to change?
Now, Red spoke to a trucker, Max KeDwitt, who is a French-Canadian long hauler. And I think Max is basically saying, you know, I support him in principle at first, but they're fucking everything up. What I think Max is saying is, I'm hoping this turns into a labor movement. Because if you really know what it is to be a truck driver, they don't get paid well. It's dangerous. They're long hours. They're not organized. There's not enough restaurants and amenities for them.
I haven't heard many people mention that. There is no union for Canadian truck drivers.
It's deregulated.
Yeah.
My grandfather used to drive for U.S. Steel from Gary to Detroit. Right? He'd make his run in a day. Then he'd get a day off. Then he'd make a run. And he'd have a pension. And that shit's gone.
Yeah, Teamsters ain't what they used to be.
All right, so you got a little bit from Max, huh? You talked to him on the phone?
Yeah, I actually got to talk to Max. He was held up in inspection at the time, and I couldn't get across the border. So they being strict as hell getting in Canada, had all the paperwork, great conversation, and basically, it's like you said, at this point, he feels as this is a labor thing. Come on, let's straighten this out. Let's get this rose back to rolling.
Let's hear from him then.
At the beginning, I didn't have a problem with the quote-unquote freedom convoy. And the problem is that this whole movement has been hijacked by different people that have nothing to do with trucking anymore. That's the problem.
So when they started, what was the initial want? What did they initially want?
The initial demand, they went to Ottawa, Canada's capital, and they wanted to end the border mandate for truckers. So the truckers would not need to be vaccinated to cross the border.
Have you been vaccinated?
Yes, sir. I have 3 vaccines. I got the 2 original vaccines, and I got the booster.
So since this started and they shut down the ambassador, give the listeners an idea of what you're going through now to make your deliveries.
Well, I cannot cross at Ambassador Bridge. And specifically, what I do is produce meat and poultry. So basically, I need to be at Windsor for inspection. So I have to go to Sarnia, which is also blocked. And then from Sarnia, I have to come back sometimes to Windsor everybody's going to Port Erie or they're going to Port Huron, and then there's massive backups there. So you lose basically a day and more every time you try to cross the border.
And you guys are only supposed to legally drive for so many hours, correct?
Yes, sir. We can only drive 11 hours in the U.S., 13 in Canada. Our time on duty is a bit longer than that, but the driving is limited to 11 and 13 hours.
And at the end of all this, you said you were with him in the beginning. Now you've changed your mind. What would you like to see happen, or what do you think should happen to go ahead and get this solved?
Well, first of all, it would be really nice if either side could sit together and talk, because none of that has been happening on either side. Either side hasn't met yet. I know that the convoy was really trying hard to meet, but I don't know why they're not meeting. So, I mean, the first thing would be to start a line of communication between the two parties involved, and the useless, in my opinion, that's my personal opinion, I don't believe that the protesters blocking the border entries should do that, because all they're doing is they're hurting truckers big time. I know hundreds of guys that are stuck in the U.S. that can't come to Canada, and vice versa.
If you had to take a guess, how much longer you see this lasting?
I don't think it's going to go on much longer, because it's been 4 or 5 days now. A lot of it's not only the food, there's the manufacturing for the car parts and all that. All the big plants are shut down right now in Ontario. I know Toyota and Cambridge is shut down, and I know that they canceled some shifts in Michigan, because I think it's 4 border crosses to get 1 car done of materials, and that's not moving right now. So everything is grinding to a halt.
Can you tell the people, where are you at right now, this second?
Okay, so this morning I couldn't cross in Windsor, so I went to Sarnia, where I waited 18 hours or so. Then I crossed into Canada at Sarnia, Port Huron, Sarnia, and I had to come back to Windsor by the Canadian side to get a meat inspection. So right now I'm in Windsor doing a meat inspection, and I'm trying to get back home to Montreal.
And let me ask you this: do you think this is a really more so about the frustration and what y'all been dealing with, being essential workers out here throughout all this? Or do you think this is... No, go ahead.
The frustration comes from everywhere. Us truckers, we never stopped during the whole pandemic since the beginning. I never stopped traveling. Even when people said, oh my God, it's super dangerous to go to the States, don't go to Florida, don't go to Texas, I was always there. And that was before vaccines and all that. And everything was closed in other states. We couldn't use the bathrooms, we couldn't go to restaurants, we couldn't get food. So that's frustration with all the mandates. And the second thing is there's a lot of truck drivers that didn't get vaccinated, but 10%. But 10% of how many thousand guys? That's a lot of guys. Now they can't work anymore because they need a vaccine to cross the border. So there's a lot of frustration building up, and 2 years of unprecedented events that we've never gone through in our society. Of course, people are fed up, but we got to keep rolling, because or else nobody's gonna have nothing to eat.
Let's get to Virginia Grimaldi. She's there with the trucking protesters. I want to see what their attitude is and what they know. But before we go to the streets of Windsor, I want to bring you a word from our sponsors. And the reason that we only have a few sponsors because they're family. And at a time like this, a very, very important moment in the history of our lives.
Yes.
I think this is a monumental moment that a quick, short word from each of our sponsors. American Coney Island, as always, right near the river. Derek loves to come to American Coney Island. It's at the corner of Lafayette and Michigan Avenue. The oldest family-run restaurant in Detroit. The originators of the American, I guess we could call it the American Coney dog, right?
Yeah.
Did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Or you can always get a Coney Kid at American Coney Island.
As he's eating one.
I thought that was my cue to eat.
Listen, ADR, right? If you're having issues, like they seem to be having on the bridge, and remember they're building the Gordie Howe Bridge too.
Right.
If you're having trouble with big projects like this or small projects, call ADR. It's pretty simple. They're the ones you call when you need to get something done right, on time, and on budget, right? They can also act as a mediator. It's Barry Ellen Tuck at 248-318-9424. Okay, he is honest, smart, discreet. Get your business done with the government. Have somebody interface with you. Thanks for your support, ADR. And Hall Financial.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Rates are going up.
They are going up, aren't they?
Yes. So call Hall first.
They're going up. The bridge is closed. The economy's strangling. What's going to happen if this thing spins into an international financial calamity? That's why you're seeing movement.
Yeah.
Right? Now, interest rates will go up. It's uncertainty. Make a move, people. Whether you're going to buy that house and there's small stock.
Yeah.
You have to have your mortgage in place or you're not going to get the house, right? Talk to Hall. They'll walk you through it. They'll get you what you need. Very good personal hands-on service. You call 866-CALL-HALL or go to callhallfirst.com and get started. Thanks for the support, David. And of course, if things start spinning out of control financially, call Newt Nowacki. The guy's brilliant. What are interest rates doing? One of the hottest stocks is shipping, logistics.
Yes.
And if they're all bottled up, what do you do in the short term? A lot of you make short-term moves. I recommend thinking in the long term, but there are short-term things to think about. Who thinks about them? Who can give you advice? Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748. One more time, Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748 at Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Thanks for your support, Luke.
They call the one and only Royal Alliance Associates.
Now let's get to the streets of Windsor.
Streets of Windsor.
Sounds like an old 70s show.
Hello?
Hi, Virginia. It's Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, how are you?
Okay, I'm good. Listen, you're with the protesters, yes?
Yes, I'm on Wyandotte, yep.
Okay, what are you hearing? Are the feds moving in?
Pardon me?
What are you hearing? Are the authorities starting to move in and stage? We just got off with a firefighter. They're in town. Did you hear that?
Yeah, no, so far at Wyandotte, it's the same as it's been. There are, police officers down here as there have been, but they're still in their vehicles. There is like a large van here with tactical gear and stuff, but they haven't been bothering us at all. They're just standing by like they have been for the last 2 days.
Well, listen, girl, I don't mean to be the one to break this to you. Maybe you already know it, but Premier Ford just declared a state of emergency.
Yes, we know.
So they're coming, aren't they?
Well, we don't know. This injunction is still tied up after about the Wyandotte location. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to take it forcefully or not. We've been told by Windsor Police that they would come down and make an announcement before doing anything by force. Whether or not that's what they're going to do, we don't know. I know that historically in Windsor,
Virginia,
that is what happened.
I'm assuming they're going to. Are you going to move?
Historically, right now, we're waiting for information from people on Huron in College. We're bringing in supplies right now. We've got people dropping off supplies. So, we're gearing up. I think there are some people that may move. Some people may stay. But right now, it's really kind of up in the air until we hear for sure what's going on with that injunction.
Who's your leader? How do you guys decide? Do you vote? Is there a grand poobah? Like who's?
Well, basically, the first of all, like, nobody's going to make anybody stay. If you want to leave, if they declare that they're going to be taking legal action against us, if people want to leave, that's their right, and by all means, go ahead. There isn't a grand poobah. No, it's everybody's kind of just working together and making decisions together. Some people are waiting to see what the numbers are going to be like. If there's going to be enough people here, they'll stay. If there's not enough support, they may want to move. Again, safety in numbers, right?
Are you staying?
Myself?
Yeah.
I'm still making up my mind right now. And again, I think that's going to have a lot to do with numbers. And the other thing, too, is that if we don't have the numbers, we may all move back to here online, rally, and then come back when we do have the numbers. Might be a thing. I'm not sure. Those decisions haven't been made yet.
Wow.
Virginia, you're saying if people pull back, then you will also pull back. You're looking for the safety and unity in numbers. That's going to be your deciding factor.
I'd say that's a possibility for myself for today. That's one of my personal deciding factors. Now, I can't speak on behalf of the entire group. I think everybody's just kind of waiting right now. Right now, we're stuck in a limbo. We thought we would have some information by now that we haven't gotten, and that's because the government is holding up the injunction right now. Apparently are having problems with their Zoom. I don't know if that's the case or not. I know that my Zoom's working fine.
The international border crisis is hinged upon a faulty Zoom connection?
Right. So, but I mean, I'm not at City Hall, so I can't, or at the Superior Courthouse, so I can't really speak to that, but that's the information that we're being given.
Okay, so let me see if I'll encapsulate this. I'll let you go. I know you're busy. It's a wait and see. There's no consensus as of yet. Nobody's being asked to stay. If you all did leave and they roll back the mandates, which you want, that would be a victory. And if they don't, you're coming back.
Well, that's the. My understanding is that might be the plan. Again, we've got to wait and see what the government comes back with, and it might.
Virginia, I hate to tell you that the premier just said, "Move it. I'm going to fine you $100,000. I'm going to put you in jail for a year, and I'm going to take your stuff."
Yeah.
That's where the government stands.
And I mean, that's less my concern than an act of violence from the government. I think that an act of violence is that's what we're waiting to see, is what kind of force are they going to use. That's what I'm personally waiting to see anyway.
Would you like to see the Michigan State Police come in and help you? I mean, help remove your stuff, maybe,
I think that it's absolutely ridiculous that they're asking Michigan State Police from another country to come in. Like, come on, guys, this is Canada. You can't deal with the issue yourself. And especially because the bigger issue is, why can't you just sit down and have a peaceful conversation with us? We've been leaving lanes open for emergency service vehicles. We've given up a lane on here online. We've been sitting here calmly, quietly, peacefully. There's not even so much as a piece of litter on the ground. And you guys have to hide in your ivory tower, and you can't even come have a conversation with us. You're going to threaten our homes and our lives even further than you already have. Come on.
If Doug Ford showed up or Trudeau showed up, what would you tell them directly?
That it's time to lift the mandates. Doug Ford needs to look to the other provinces that are lifting the mandates. And Justin Trudeau, oh man, I don't know what would happen. But enough is enough. It's time. You are elected to represent the constituents of this country or of your riding, and they're not. They're not even talking to us. So how could they possibly represent us? It's time to listen. Somebody didn't teach them to use their listening ears in grade school.
And then what do you tell them when they go, no?
Well, that's why we're standing here. We're telling them that we don't agree. We've complied calmly and quietly for 2 years. And only now after shutting down the Ambassador Bridge for 2 days, now you want to get up in arms, but you still won't talk? Now we're the bad guy after you've attacked us for 2 years.
Well, girlfriend, you know what's going to happen. If you don't move, they're going to drag you away. That's what's going to happen.
I think so. And I mean, I know that, like, if I start getting kicked in the head, I'm probably going to move. But short of that, I don't have any intention on moving. I mean, we've been working with emergency services to make sure that the area is safe for people. But outside of that, as far as letting trucks cross the border, I'm not interested.
My piece of advice, and I'll let you go, and I'll be in touch. I try to get over there, right? It's very difficult.
Yes.
Make it very hard. Is if they come, comply. Don't.
Yes, 100%. And we want people to know that. Like, do not act forcefully. Do not mouth off. Do not talk back. Just stay calm, stay peaceful. And, if they come with force, just comply.
Peace to you, sister.
Because we can always rally. You as well. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Good luck now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That's Virginia Grimaldi, one of the sit-in protesters there on the Canadian side of the bridge.
So what it comes into, it's like a power struggle, Charlie. The protesters are like, we're not going to back down. The government is like, we're not going to be punked out. This could actually turn into, kind of a bloodbath at some point.
Yeah, I agree, Karen, because everybody's not going to be thinking as sensible as Miss Virginia is there. Some folks are so embedded into this. They might actually want to put up a fight and resistance just to prove, I
think they already have. Canadians are good, decent people, I don't want not a drop of any blood spilled.
It shouldn't be.
The point shall be made. Let me see if I can guess this. I'm going to drag them out of there. Right? Mm-hmm. They're charging with something small, as long as it's peaceful. And then in 2 weeks, these mandates will disappear. The government needs a safe face.
Yeah.
Everybody's lifting them slowly. I said last year, by first quarter of 2022, you're going to start to see a shift because the economic impact of all of these haphazard, random, mandates across the country and obviously in Canada too are having such a negative impact. People are going to be like, okay, whoever we tried to get has already been gotten, and everybody else is just in their eyes a lost cause. So I knew this was it's not sustainable.
Well, especially with numbers going down and hospitalizations and deaths.
But this is the thing, though, Mark, and I know we disagree on this. We only know what they tell us. And at the minute when they tell us it was bad, then we believe that it's bad. When they tell us that it's getting better, we believe that it's getting better. We don't know what's going on.
I think
we really don't.
To me, Karen, you sound completely reasonable at this point. I speak with my mother quite often, and as I should, but my mother believes in science. My mother believes in mathematics. What she doesn't believe in is the shifting rationale, the shifting mandates. It's one thing one day, it's another thing the other day, and she still has a memory, praise be to God, about that.
Yeah, I agree with Mom.
It's being
that's
politicized.
The whole point, Charlie, and it's been like that. It's making it up, as they go along, and people are like, okay, this makes no sense. So sure, there is value, validity, and science, and I get that. I don't argue that point. But at the end of the day, when all those people are in a room and they're having conversations, they're also having conversations about how it makes them appear from a political standpoint, from a PR standpoint, all of that. Please don't tell me that that's not part of the conversation, because I would bet my last dollar otherwise. I know better.
And it's eerie now. Life is eerie. You look at Facebook or YouTube, and just this conversation we're having is based on facts. It's very clear, right? But since we're a small organization, they start to nitpick, shadow ban you. They don't put you out there. What they are doing, and they're proud of it, is they put mainstream media out there. And if you look at mainstream media, how much they've gotten wrong. I'll give you a small one we worked on. Whitmer and the nursing home numbers, Whitmer and the nursing home response. They refused, the mainstream media, to consider the new information. You got caught out so badly buying into the bullshit that you won't even fix it. You're looking to shuck and jive and dodge, and everybody's looking for somebody but you to tell them stuff. And now everybody's out there is a handyman with the information. If you can't trust the government, if you can't trust the media, right?
Right.
You're going to have this shit everywhere.
Right.
You got to be better. You got to be part of the people. You can't be above.
Every message we hear, Charlie, is massaged. Trust me on that. Every message is massaged. Let me just say that it is. And everybody, people get mad when if you have a difference of opinion, and that difference of opinion is packaged and presented as being misinformation simply because it goes against the grain of what the mainstream wants you to believe. Why can't it be the other way around? Maybe that's misinformation.
They say life is teachable moments, and I'm thinking right now Canada is giving the world one of the biggest teachable moments there is, in the fact that the protesters are saying, hey, we've been law-abiding citizens. All we asked you to do was talk to us, not tell us like a dictator and then step away and expect us to just fall in line. That's going to go against our natural human basic instinct.
And this is on both sides of the border. Let's get this straight. This is Trudeau and Biden administrations. All through the pandemic, the truckers were going back and forth. You're risking, the plague.
Yeah.
They kept you fed. And 2 years into it, when everybody's rolling back the mandates, you come up with, you get the vax or you can't come in, or if you come in and you're not vaxxed, you got to quarantine. After all these people been through, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand the frustration. Me, I try to comply. I try to be a good citizen. I did what was asked. But the polls show you Americans are done with it, right? I get the vax, I'm done. We got to move on.
Yeah. And I mean, their numbers and their vaccination rates over there is kind of beating ours.
I think they're like number one in the world.
Yeah, so I really don't understand myself.
It's like 90%.
Right. So
whatever happened to herd
immunity at 75? They've achieved that by extra 15%. So the government kind of making themselves look more dictatorish right now with this than actually, like she said, being the part, the body to represent the people.
I just like our neat turn here in Michigan. Complete lockdown to I'm going to Beverly Hills in the middle of a surge to raise money. Wow.
Priorities.
I don't forget.
That's what I was about to say, Mark. Priorities. And that's why I'm telling you, everything that you hear is not 100% true. It's just not. I mean, you have to listen with a critical ear. And people, what do they say? Think for yourself, or someone else will think for you without thinking of you.
Critical, but not cynical.
And respect each other. Okay, look, I want to move real quick. He's given us a minute of his time. Ian Smith, you might have heard of him. Back in March of 2020, the South Jersey gym owner came into the spotlight for refusing to abide by his state's pandemic business closures as a self-described fuck you to Governor, is it Phil Murphy? Is it Phil? Phil Doe?
Yeah, I prefer to call him Philip.
Yeah, Phil Doe. Ian racked up around $1.2 million in fines, going as far as taking the doors off his business to avoid being locked out by state officials. Mr. Smith has now announced that he will be running for Congress in New Jersey's 3rd District. Will you be running, sir, as a socialist?
Yeah. We'll be running as a socialist because we're going to change the social policies of politics, and that means that we're going to get career politicians out. So running as a Republican, but running against the establishment. Not sure at this point who likes me less, if it is Andy Kim, the incumbent, and the Democratic establishment, or if it's the New Jersey GOP, who would rather put, just another white guy in a suit, Wonder Boy.
Then why are all of you guys, guys like you are Republican in name only? I love how you call the establishment the Republican in name only. They're really Republicans. You are not. You're a dude without a home, and you're like hijacking the Republicans. You guys are parasites. Start your own party.
See, that doesn't work. We'd love that, but then we would just pull votes from the Republicans, and we'd wind up, just getting another socialist Democrat down the line, Nancy Pelosi voter in. So we're going to have to hijack the Republican Party, and it's about high time that happens, honestly.
Nancy Pelosi's richer than a bowl of etouffee, man. I'm telling you.
Oh my God,
she knows.
She's loaded.
I mean, it's the elites versus us. Let me go here, Ian. Canada. A state of emergency has been declared on the border.
Yeah.
I appreciate radicals doing their thing, but they're getting in the way of everybody eating. What do you know what I mean? They're stopping international trade. You, Mr. Congressman, what do you make of this?
No, well, coronavirus lockdowns has been getting in the way of a lot of people eating and feeding their families too. So, a simple solution would just be to lift the mandates and send everybody home. Government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people. Therefore, it's supposed to listen to the people. When the people say lift mandates and we're not going to do this anymore, and their governor, or excuse me, their prime minister heads off to the hills, it's pretty indicative that these people aren't willing to work with their citizens. They're trying to work against them. So, buckle up. It's probably going to get rough. Word is there's a convoy getting ready here in the United States, and it sucks because it is going to have an impact, and it is going to impact people's lives. But the reality is that people need to be left alone by government, and it's not going to happen until we force government to back off.
Okay, let me do this. They find you
at this point.
They find you $1.2 million. Did you pay it?
No.
Huh?
Where am I going to get $1.2 million?
They take your gym.
No, they're not taking that either. That would never happen. So I'd love to see them try, and there's a reason that they haven't tried to do that, because they know that would be a very bad move on their part. What they did do was take $173,000 from our bank account, because, the government likes to do things like that. They're not, they don't have the fortitude to do stuff right to your face, which is why they operate the way they operate, kind of behind closed doors all the time, and making decisions and holding press conferences instead of answering questions. So we weren't surprised when they took our money, but I would be very surprised if I saw Philip walk through our door ready to take some of our equipment.
Phil, though.
Not to mention, I don't think he could lift it.
It's funny because Jersey had some of the most restrictive COVID policies in the nation, and they've got rid of them, slowly, but they're getting rid of them. Quebec's getting rid of it. Saskatchewan, Alberta, Michigan just quietly stopped doing it. California, Delaware. What the fuck with the border? This is what? I'm in charge. I can't give anybody a win. Now, here's the deal, Ian.
Yeah.
Red over here is a sedentary pot smoker with the one jab.
Yes.
And Mark is, what would I describe yourself, Mark?
I don't know. I like to have you describe me.
I would say this guy wears 3 tampons on his face.
Oh,
he got
come on.
14 shots, right?
No, I'm double vaxxed and boosted. I have no problem with that.
And no, I'm joking around.
No, I know you are.
I take it seriously, and I respect you. And so you're like,
I think you and I, we have a lot more in common with certain arguments.
I got to make a show go. I got to make a show go. And then there's Karen. Karen, are you vaccinated?
Yes.
Are you vaccinated?
No.
And you don't really go out in public anymore, right?
I have a broken foot, Charlie. There's no place to go. I can't walk.
You broke it last month. What about last year, Karen?
I went where I needed to go. There was no place to go. Everything was closed and all that. So, I do what I have to do, but, I'm not vaccinated. And then when people say, are you fully vaccinated? Who is fully vaccinated? People with the vaccine still get COVID, still transmit COVID. So what does that mean?
It means
nothing.
What does data show? The data shows whether you were a locked out state or you were an open state. The same shit's happening. So what I'm saying, Ian, is we got the rainbow here. So I think Mark wants to ask you. No, should I ask it?
Well, yeah, I'm curious.
Okay, Ian, what was your problem? You couldn't even for the first month chip in and do what the government told you? You're walking around breathing on everybody, spreading this, killing old people in the nursing homes. Why didn't you at least give it a month?
We did. We actually gave it 2 months.
Huh.
We opened back in May of 2020. So we gave it actually 2 months to the day. And yeah, we certainly did our part. And once that became enough is enough, and once we saw the politics come into play, whether that was intentional at, from the beginning, or if it was an opportunity that certain people saw to grab some control. Either way, we saw it for what it was. And, vax, unvax, mask, no mask, whatever the people want to do is fine. The problem arises is that when politicians step in and saying who's allowed to go to work and who's not allowed to go to work and who can have a job and who can't have a job and who can enter public places and who can't. So the issue is always freedom. It's personal choice beyond that. But government needs to realize that that they're not a nanny state, they're not mommy, they're not daddy. They're there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to protect our rights and not guarantee our safety. That's up to the individual.
I don't disagree with any of that at all. I guess where it falls in line for me is like, why are you the one to decide at that time?
Yeah. What science degree do you have, dude?
Well, when somebody came into our life, my business partner Frank KeDwitt and myself, we're not these fancy gym owners who have 10 gyms and a bunch of franchises. We bought a business that was failing, and we put everything that we had into it over the course of 9 months, and we made it successful. And then somebody came along with no evidence, just said, "Hey, listen, there's this big scary thing coming. Everybody's got to close your business." And we said, okay. We didn't know enough about that at the time to be like, no, we're not closing. So we said, all right, but if somebody comes into our life and tells us we're not allowed to feed our families, I want to understand why. So what we did is we took to keep coming to work. We came to work every day, and what we did is we studied. We wanted to learn everything we could about the coronavirus that was not being put into the mainstream news, what the actual scientific studies were saying, how it was transmitted, what mitigating factors there were, what early treatment options there were, what was the success rate of what the government plan was, what were other countries doing. So we studied. And alongside of the science, we decided we were going to study the politics. And when you're talking about a 14-day shutdown, and on day 11, you pass an economic stimulus bill that's $2.6 trillion, that does two major things. One, it gives people $600 a week for 16 weeks just to stay home.
I could use that.
Questions for us. Why 16 weeks when you're telling us 14 days? What are you looking at that's 16 weeks away that you're not telling people about at that time?
So yes, I don't disagree with any of that. It's the balance between personal freedoms and the economy, and then protecting the public health. I mean, where that line is really, really tough. I guess ultimately the question is, was it worth it? I mean, you talked about these big fines, and I think most people would say, I do appreciate you standing by your principles. I like it when anybody does that, but I don't know if I would do it. I mean, that's a big fine. That's a lot of, I'm sure you're getting a lot of shit.
That's not only does he have big balls, he got big arms. So,
but you know what I mean? Was it worth it? That's a pretty big fine.
I think, go ahead, Red.
That's a good question, honestly. And there's been times along the way where, Frank and I have been looking at each other and wondering, how much longer do we keep this up? But the reality is that when we opened, it wasn't just about a gym. It was about the fact that government doesn't have that authority to come into your life and completely kneecap your self-reliance and destroy your
business. Yes, we know. Let me pause you there. That's correct. That's correct. Hey, man, that's correct. I think what we're talking about today is we're at a point. It's not radical. It's the mainstream now. We're done. Saskatchewan and Quebec.
Well, we know how to mitigate it,
and
too.
Oakland County, right? I don't understand what's the hang up here at the border. The truck drivers throughout this whole thing have been going back and forth and keeping everybody fed. They're more essential than anybody. And now, as everybody's letting it go, you're requiring double shot. I don't think that's fair.
No, I completely agree with you. And I don't think it's fair to tell anybody that they have to take a treatment, especially if that treatment has been shown to be not what you said it was going to be. Okay. I mean, they were touting this vaccine as the...
That is true. Ian, Mark's making faces.
We're going to be back to normal.
Ian, Mark's making faces again. Our liberal friend.
You knock it off.
Hey, Ian, after this whole ordeal, taking this stance, they done took money from you. How is the business doing now?
Good. We're open every single day. We actually don't charge our members. We haven't charged our members since March of 2020 when we originally suspended billing. When we reopened, we weren't charging people because it wasn't about the money, it was about the principle. And by the time that we were allowed to quote unquote allowed to reopen, they had taken our business license. So we operate entirely on voluntary donations, and we sell a lot of t-shirts. We sent t-shirts to all 50 states several hundred times over and to 18 countries around the world. So people find a way to keep our business operational and keep our lawyer bills paid, which are quite expensive. And it's all a voluntary system.
I know why he's running for Congress. 174,000 cool cash money a year, lifetime health benefits.
Well, it doesn't hurt.
Get that money back one way or another.
Maybe they'll just dock my pay right there for the fines. I'll work that off over a couple years.
What does the T-shirt say? Because your beard is covering it. Is that the T-shirt that you sell?
Yeah, this is one of the T-shirts that we sell. It says Belmar for everybody. Belmar is the town that Attilas is in, and our fight was for everybody. It was for personal freedom. It wasn't for a gym. And on the back, it has the Attilas Gym logo with the preamble of the Constitution.
Okay, real quickly, and we got to let you go because we got some stuff going on here. Just real quick, what's the size of the federal budget, Mr. Congressman wannabe?
What's the size of the federal budget? Offhand, I don't know, but I know that it's too big. I know that we're running a $30 trillion national debt, and that's true.
So you don't know the budget.
We're seeing the value of our dollar just decline every day, and the way that we're heading.
Stop double talking me, Congressman. I don't know is simple enough.
It's a pretty good politician.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
What is the cost of a gallon of milk, sir?
I think like $4 or $5 now.
That is correct. Yes. But the better answer with a beard and a body like that is this. I'm a grown fucking man. I don't drink milk. Ask me what a pint of beer costs. That's your answer. Okay. Next one. What is 6 times 9?
4.
Oh. Okay. And what is the capital of Michigan?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, you're ready for this politician role.
He got 2 of them, man. That makes him twice as smart as Jersey.
At least he said not Detroit because everybody thinks that. So that's to me.
Yeah, people usually go to the biggest city, and it's usually not. No, I don't know offhand, to tell you the truth.
Karen, what is the capital of New Jersey?
I don't know. Is it Newark?
Oh, she went to the biggest city. No, it's Detroit, Karen.
Who knows in New Jersey?
It's Trenton.
All right. But I have an 8-year-old at home who studies states.
Yeah, you're current right now on that.
Yeah.
All right. So, listen, Ian, good luck, man. Thank you. We'll be in touch with you. Good luck with your campaign.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ian.
Thanks. Hey, it'd be nice to have a congressman with a body like that, Charlie.
Wow.
Yes,
yeah.
Not Karen.
Not Karen saying a congressman with a body like that. You see her body she posted?
Hey.
I don't even notice it.
I was hoping Ian, when you asked him the one question, if he instead of political speech, just rip your shirt open at that point, right?
Well, when he said it was on the back, I started to say show us, but I said no, I'll be nice.
Hey, Karen getting feisty today.
I'm assuming your husband Tim doesn't watch the show.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, he does. He does.
He's in the back flexing. He's actually really well built too, actually.
Yeah, Tim's in good shape. So I mean, no issue there. So he has nothing to be concerned about. He's not the only one with a good body.
I'm in shape too. Round.
Yes, you are, Red. We love you.
I want to all let you know something. My grandpa was a truck driver. Truck drivers rule these countries. No truck driver, no nothing. You're in my blood. I love you. Respect. My grandpa's wife is a French Canadian. I love you. You're my blood. Respect. Remember that. Power to the working person. And keep it cool, please.
Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down that eastern seaboard.
Grandpa used to let me sleep in his cab. Oh, cool. Bring it home. That's pretty sweet.
There's a speed zone ahead.
All right.
I don't see a
Top sides. 6 days on the road, and I'm gonna make it home tonight. You know why I wear square-toe boots?
Why?
Because Grandpa wore them.
baby, goodbye. I could have a lot of women, but I'm not like a sober guy. I can find one to hold me tight, but I can never make believe it's all right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
Man, he used to live by the highway, Gary, Indiana. You'd be watching Cannon with the old man. Remember the old rabbit ear antenna? Yeah. Used to pick up the CB traffic from the semis blasting by. It was great. Goats in the machine.
But nothing bothers me tonight. I can dodge all the scales, all right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
You know, your first responders, man, respect.
Feel my rig's a little old, but that don't mean she's slow.
I had to learn that one.
There's a flame farmer stack and that smoke's blowing black as coal.
We're working people, man.
Hometowns are coming in sight. If you think I'm happy, you're right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
Everybody make it home safe. Let's get this situation solved.